Well, we just entered rehearsals for Peter Pan, and it was a very exciting revival. You know, it wasn't one of these safe paydays. No, this version was set in the Middle Passage. Yes, it was titled Never, Never Again Land, subtitled Turn This Boat Around. It was an attempt, you know, to build bridges that reconnect the communities, because the devastation was just not on. Do you know much about the slave trade? No. Well, upwards of 12 million of them were illegally enslaved. And we have all benefited from the willful ignorance of those on our side who chose to turn a blind eye over the years and continue to. Well, not me. No. I mean, we all have a responsibility, don't we, to repair. Yes. And these were to be my cultural reparations, if you will, to make amends. And we were going to be in a strong position to do so, which is why I said to the producer at the time, you know, I said, listen, you are an old cis white male. You are closer to the problem than any of us. You need to grow a spine and do the right thing. Let it run. Because generally, when you sing, people listen to the message within and change their behavior accordingly. Proud and insolent youth, prepare to meet thy trader. Do you know about artistic license? You do? Well, it was a very diverse cast. It was. There was a local boy whose name was... He was a black boy, and he was playing Peter. Pan. Me, well, I was to play the infamous Hook, attempting to enslave his brethren forever. I mean, it was such good fun, and a really fresh take, really was, and real, you know? Urban. And there's not enough of that around these days. No. But we keep trying, don't we? I mean, personally, I think they should be in everything. But alas, it has been officially cancelled, which was financial suicide in my estimation. I mean, it was a tiny budget anyway, as they weren't paying the kids, ironically. So, as I say, minimal risk. But, no, you're quite right, yes. I shouldn't dwell on it. It's just that it was going to be a springboard for me, you know, after what happened at work. I really enjoyed teaching. Humbling work, truly. Because you have to operate at the speed of those around you. And when your mind is always racing, it can be challenging to slow things down for the others in the race. On the other hand, it could also be very limiting. Yes. I mean, I'm always thinking about how to open my mind. And I wanted to pass that skill on to those students who claim to have a passion for the arts. To me, drama class is all about conquering the comfort zone, stepping into new experiences and accepting them as a changed human being. Well, I had not long got back from holiday with the family, and I had returned a changed man. It was so informative, traveling. It really is. And so it felt right to offer that same experience to my first years. Now, I'm sure you will agree, cuisine is one of the oldest and most divisive elements of a culture's identity. Yes? Some practitioners may tell you that communication is the most valuable tool in an actor's arsenal. I go one further. openness, yes? A willingness to be led. Well, Jack would not be led. The rest of the class tried it at least, but he just kept saying, "It's rotten and it stinks." I told him, "Of course it smells. It's a century egg, you tit. It's nice." And they have travelled thousands of miles to get here, so you f***ing well try it. Now, yes, I may have bought them online because they don't sell them in Brittany. But Jack didn't know that, did he? No. He just rejected the palates of many millions of Asians outright. Which proves my point. He wasn't a serious student. He was a close-minded little tosser. Well, long story short, his parents complained about the force feeding, and I left the school shortly after. It did hurt, yes. Yes. Because I was trying to give. And the way I was treated at the end there was frankly disgusting. Which is why Julie and I agreed that I wouldn't be employed for a while. Just while I was getting my mind straight after the betrayal. And when it's firing on all cylinders, it can be difficult to tame. And there are some things that do help to slow things down. Oblivion Elder Scrolls is incredible. It is. I mean, it just takes you away from it all. You know, especially when I've got the headset on and I can just zone out on the beanbag. Hours can go by in a split second. When you're staring out across the plains, it's just like being out in nature. Particularly on ours, because it's curved, you see. So I was only out of work for roughly 28 months in the end. Which was why I was sitting there trying to complete the Bard's College side quest one morning, and there was a knock at the door. Well, it was Julie's father, Clive. He just handed me the keys and walked away. He's a man of few words to me. Yes, and that was the day that it all changed. So was born the Whippy King of Milton Keynes. It was so exciting. It really was. Because I would be the boss for once, you know. There was no employer because that was me. Clive didn't know that I was a cyclist, though. So now, Julie drives us to the park in the morning in the van, and then she gets the bus to the hospital, and then she does the reverse on her way home, which works. And I sell ice creams all day, 10 till 3. It's not easy. I am exhausted by home time. You know, but I wouldn't tell Julie that. You know, that wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't want her to worry. Honestly, though, I think it's the best choice I have ever made. Hands down. I mean, the freedom is like nothing I've ever experienced. You know, being out in the fresh air, speaking with people from all walks of life. And if it's ever cold outside or I'm downwind of the exhaust, I just slide the window across and enjoy a bit of me time. With a screwball or a zap. It isn't just about chatting with the customers, though, you understand that. No, it's become more than that. As I said, I'm always thinking of ways to innovate and improve systems of human connection. Now, there are many ice cream vans in the world, as I'm sure you're aware. Normal folk, such as yourselves, may not have thought of this, but there has never been a truck that offers both summer refreshments and vaudeville performance, has there? There is now. And this was born partly out of necessity, yes, but also from a desire to give back to the community that shaped us. Yes? No, quite. I didn't grow up here, but many people have, and many people will. Naturally, a vendor's instinct is to reach as many patrons as possible. But did you know that you cannot play your chimes before midday? Well, if you're going to let the cattle know it's feeding time, you have to get creative. Naturally, my instinct is to give with one hand, sure, but also to give with the other hand. Both hands. A gifted sonnet, yes, via the tannoy. It took off instantly. Could I have a fab, please? Yes. Would you like some Keats with that? Also, yes. Heard melodies are sweet. They really are. You saw the article in the Milton Keynes Citizen, I assume? No? You didn't see the headline? The ice cream merchant of Venice. Oh. Not a supporter of the local press, then? Okay. Well, they refer to me as a revelation. Yes. Well, I just have to keep telling myself that fame isn't the reason I'm doing this. You seriously didn't see it, though? Whatever. It's just that some people can get quite jealous of this sort of thing. You know, once you've got some attention. Even your own blood can lash out in the darker moments. So you just have to stay grounded for their benefit. Be the rock on which your family can climb. It's demanding, though. It is, because even rocks can crumble. We can't be igneous all the time, can we? You could use that in here, if you like, with your clients. Patience, then, whatever. Yes, well, on the subject of jealousy, I confronted Poppy last week when the microphone went missing from the van. She denied all wrongdoing, of course, until I found it in her book bag, wrapped in her maths homework. Taking it to school, are we? She just rolled her eyes. I told her that larceny is a fool's errand and that her friends were little cunts. She started crying, of course. She said that if I reunited the PA system, she would go and live with her grandfather. Clive to the rescue. I give up. You know, I'm more than willing to admit that I have reached the extent of my abilities as an educated amateur. I am officially handing her over to you, which is why she has the appointment with you tomorrow, actually. No, sure. Yes, you're right. Stay present. Absolutely. I tell my students the very same thing. Yes. I struggled to reply to her in the moment, you know. I had to process her insolence. What had initiated this attack on me? Has she fallen out with her mother? Is it a boy? Or a girl, actually? Has she begun her womanhood? All of the above. I knew it to be existential, yes, which is why I woke her that night to share with her these words of the bard, because they have helped me through many a crisis.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die. To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in thy sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that make... Damn. That was going quite well, wasn't it? Pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin. Who would fathers bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not all? Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sickly dour with the pale cast of thought. The sickly dour with the pale... Oh no, I've already done that bit, haven't I? And enterprises of great pith and moment. With this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. You know, that sort of thing. And if that doesn't help her, I mean, good luck to you, isn't it? I mean, it's just an excellent performance, isn't it? Yeah, well, you're welcome. Come to the park. See me live.